Okay, hi guys, welcome to your second InDesign tutorial on how to add images to InDesign. So now that we're familiar with the basics of using InDesign and how to format text, it is time to add some pictures. So we're going to use this little icon right here, the rectangle frame tool. And I'm just going to draw a rectangle to put my picture in. So if you have watched the lecture on long format document design, you saw there was a slide in there on how when you're making thumbnail sketches of page interiors to show where you're going to put a picture, you draw a rectangle and you put an X in it. So as you can see in InDesign, we're using the same iconography. Alright, so we have this rectangle and let's add a picture. So I go up under File, Place. So it's really important to know that InDesign is not embedding copies of pictures into the file. InDesign is remembering the path on your computer to where an image is located and using that image displayed in your InDesign file. So you should not start like moving pictures all around your computer after you've started building your InDesign file, because InDesign will get confused and you'll have to go hunting for all these pictures again. So it's a really good idea to keep everything nice and organized from the beginning. So you can see if you unzipped that cookbook asset zip I gave you, I had a folder of images. So if you all are going to go out and find additional imagery for your cookbooks, I would put those pictures you download off the internet or take in this folder on your local machine so that you have all your pictures in one folder. So I'm just going to grab a picture and hit open. And there you go. I have a picture on my page. So you'll notice that all the pictures I gave you guys are very high resolution, so they are way bigger than this image frame. And this is why I like working in the advanced workspace mode. If you switched out of advanced, I would go back, because at the very top of the screen you get a few of these handy icons that are all about helping you quickly resize your pictures to fit your frames. So I have this image frame still highlighted. It's blue, I know it's highlighted. And I'm going to use these different icons. If you hover, they tell you what they are, but they're going to fit your image inside your frame in different ways. So this is fitting it proportionately to the width, but so obviously I'm not seeing the full height of the image, which is this brown line here. The next one is going to fit it proportionally, but I'm going to get the full height of my picture, so you can see it's obviously not now filling the width. This one is going to fit it to the frame disproportionately, so now I've stretched out this mountain. And I'm going to just undo a few times to get back. Okay. And then the next one is going to fill the frame to the content, which we definitely don't want right now. We just have a huge image frame with a huge image, so that's not right. And the last one just centers the picture in the frame. So I'm going to go back to this first one. Let's see how that's looking. Looks pretty good. So I can obviously change the size of my image frame or move it around the page with the black arrow. I can also manipulate the actual image inside the frame, and there's 3 different ways you can do that. The first is I can click on this white arrow, and then if I click on the image, you can see now that brown rectangle is back. That is showing me the actual image and how big the image itself is. So I can change the cropping on here. I could rescale this. If I hold down Shift, it does it proportionately. So that is one way I can manipulate the image inside the image frame. The next way I can do it is if I have the black arrow on, I can just use my keyboard shortcut, which is the A key on your keyboard. So if I hit A, you can see now the white arrow is highlighted on my toolbar on the left, and I can once again move this picture around. And then V, as in Victor, is the black arrow. So that'll take me back. The last way you can do it is on your screen you might notice a little bullseye right here. Mine is turned off right now. But if you just click with the black arrow, that bullseye, it immediately switches you to working on the image inside the image frame. So again, I have all the same functionality I would have had with the white arrow without having to bother switching to the white arrow. So that's like just a handy shortcut tool. Okay, so that's how we're going to manipulate the image inside our image frame. The next thing I want to point out is this links palette over here on the right. We haven't talked about that one yet. I'm going to pull it out so you can see it. So this is going to be a list of every image or every linked item in your document. InDesign calls images links. So if I say links, just think images. Alright, so this is our one and only link right now. This is the file name. This is the page it's on. If there were any issues, it would be in this column. But so far we're good. And then you might have to open this caret to show the additional information. So if you click on an image, you get the link info below. So again, you're getting the name, the type of file it is, it's JPEG, page it's on, the color space it's using, so that's a good one, because this is an RGB image, and since we're making a print cookbook, we actually want to be working in CMYK. Cyan, magenta, yellow, black is CMYK, and those are the 4 colors of ink that a printing machine has in it, and that is how it makes every other color. So versus RGB is the color mode red, green, blue for web and for digital displays. So since our project will eventually print, we want to have everything done in CMYK. That way, we're in charge of the color and what the colors are going to be. We're not asking the printing machine to do to guess the comparison color mode. So like change the color mode from RGB to CMYK for us. So we're going to do it for the machine. So I see that, so I'm going to have to go back into Photoshop and quickly change the color mode to CMYK. So we'll do that in a second. Other things I see here are my file size, the actual PPI and the effective PPI. PPI and DPI are the same thing. It's talking about dots per inch, pixels per inch. It's talking about resolution. So for things that we want to print, you need at least 150 PPI or DPI. You're really shooting for 300 DPI if you're planning on printing this at a real printer. They want high resolution truly is 300 DPI, but a digital printer you can get away with 150. If you're doing stuff for the web, you only need 72 DPI. So the actual PPI or DPI is telling me the file, this JPEG image, is set to 72 PPI. But because it's so scaled down, its effective PPI is 479. So that's definitely high res. That's going to print super great. If this effective PPI starts falling below 150, you have a problem. Your picture is going to print blurry, and you either have to use the picture at a smaller size or just go find a different picture. Another good thing to see on here is the path. If you hover over the path, it'll tell you exactly where this image is. And if you happen to lose an image, it's good to see where it used to be, at least to maybe help you track it down. So that is your links palette. Now let's go into Photoshop and convert our picture to CMYK. And I'm also going to show you what happens if you misplace an image. Okay, so Photoshop is loading. So while Photoshop is loading, let's add a couple more images into this file. So besides drawing your rectangle frames, you can actually also just load in some pictures on your cursor and place them that way. So without anything selected on my file, I'm going to go File, I'm going to go Place. I can actually select multiple images. In Windows, I can just click these handy checkboxes. On a Mac, you can hold down Shift or Control to select multiple things at once. You can select, I don't know what the maximum is, you can select a lot of pictures at once. Alright, so I'm going to hit Open, Okay, and now you can see my cursor is like loaded with little thumbnails of the pictures. It says parentheses 4 to tell me that there's 4 pictures loaded. And now I can click and drag, and it's going to give me a rectangle frame that's proportionate to the shape of my picture. And then it shows me the next picture. I can click and drag. Shows me the next picture. And I have one more. I guess I don't want that 4th one. I don't have room for it. There you go. So now I have all 4 pictures quickly loaded onto my page. I'm going to take that one off. There you go. That looks pretty good. And now you can see on my links palette, now I have 4 pictures listed. Alright, so Photoshop has opened. Here it is. Hopefully you're seeing Photoshop now. Alright, so we can, in InDesign, you can click on this picture and you can click on this edit button, and it may or may not open it in Photoshop. It kind of depends on how you've set your defaults to which programs you want different file types to open to. If you place in here a native Photoshop file, it will, or Illustrator file, it will definitely open Photoshop or Illustrator. I have a feeling if I click this, because I have a JPEG, it's just going to open like Microsoft Image Viewer, which is not what I want. So I'm just going to go to Photoshop and open my file directly, since I know where it is. Okay. Let's see here. Cookbook. Images. Alright, so let's see. We are using this picture, and I can't exactly remember which other ones I picked, but I think it's these 3, right? Because they're all next to each other. Let's open all these. Okay. Well, I know for sure it's this mountain. Okay, so I can tell that all these are RGB because it says so right here at the top of the image next to the file name, and it's really easy to convert them to CMYK. You just go up under Image, Mode, and then change it to CMYK. Say OK. And it's CMYK. 99% of the time, when Photoshop corrects the color mode for you, the colors still look perfectly good. If you feel like they're still a little off, you can definitely go in and tweak the colors over here in Adjustments. Whether you want to change the color balance or the hue, or add a photo filter, however you want to adjust the color. Those are some choices right here. Okay, but so we just changed it to CMYK, which is great, and we would just hit save and close, and we're good. If we were going to really manipulate any of these pictures, we can definitely save these images out as native Photoshop files with all the layers and place those into InDesign. That would totally work as well, just so you know. All right. And my last one. So one other thing I'm going to do, just to show you how this works, is we are going to just add a little mood lighting over to our file. So I'm just going to add a bit of a gradient. Alright, so we're going to make it like dark and stormy. There you go. Creepy, right? Okay. Just so that you can see that I've changed the picture somehow. Alright, so we're going to save this. I'm going to save this as a Photoshop file. in that images folder. Okay, let's close this. And what I'm also going to do is, hopefully you can see this. This is my just like folders. Alright, I'm going to go and remove that other JPEG out of this folder just so you can see what happens when your picture goes missing. We're going to move it to, we'll stick it in picture so I can find it later. Okay, so that's not in there anymore. So let's go back to Photoshop, or to InDesign. Okay, so I'm back in InDesign. Things are looking a little different, right? So if I'm looking at my actual page, you can see that there's little angry triangles at the bottom here, and there's a very angry stop sign with a question mark here. If I look on my links palette, I have the same symbols next to the same images. The angry triangles, not that scary. They're just letting you know that the picture has been modified outside of InDesign. So they want you to refresh. So I just click on a picture, I click on this little recycle symbol, and it will update the picture in InDesign to match the native file again. And I can do, and you can see I hit refresh, now the triangle's gone. And I can hold shift and select both of these and hit update as well. Okay, but as you recall, I got rid of this file out of that images folder, and that is why I have the stop sign. It's missing the picture. So we have to relink it. So I can double click on this link to open the links palette, or I can click this link right here to relink it as well. We'll click here. Alright, so it pops up just, my file navigation. Alright, so we are going to go, so I could either go find my JPEG in Documents where I hid it from you, or we're going to go back to our cookbook images folder and we're going to grab that Photoshop file instead. So let's open that. There you go. So we've relinked it to a Photoshop file. You can see now it's all stormy and the file is happy again. So if you lose pictures, you'll see an angry stop sign. If you just update pictures, you'll see warning triangles. So keep your eyes peeled for that stuff. And your links palette again will show you what's wrong with it. And you can see now too it says color space, CMYK, CMYK. So all of this is good. Okay, so I'm going to move this links palette back up here. Okay, I like to keep it up here with pages. Okay, so that's looking pretty cool, right? We've added some pictures to our document. So I've showed you how to add just individual pictures and how to add a bunch of pictures at once. We've talked about the links palette and what that means. We've talked about how to scale our pictures up and down. I feel like that is pretty much all you need to know about adding images. Oh, well, let me just reiterate as well. So if I have these pictures and I wanted them to go print edge to edge, I need to include bleed. So this document does not currently have bleed set up. There's no red border. So let's go add that to this document. I'm going to go under File, Document Setup. And under here it says bleed, it's hiding. And let's add a little bleed. Okay. Okay, so there's that red border. So now the picture, the way it's currently cropped, it's not wide enough to bleed. So let's grab the center of this picture. I'm going to hold down Shift and make this wider proportionately, always proportionately, or most of the time proportionately. Alright. So if I want the picture photo to have ink coverage for edge to edge, we need bleed. Alright, so there you go. I've set up what could very well become the background to my cookbook cover, right? I need to add some text, I need to add a logo, but overall that's looking pretty good. Alright, so hopefully that was helpful. Good luck adding pictures to your designs.